Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host, as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
All right.
And Papa Stu.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good, How are you guys getting on?
I'm fine.
Aye, good. Everything apart from football, I'm doing no bad.
I mean, that's obviously what we're going to be chatting about today. We're going to be chatting about the Livi game, obviously looking ahead to the derby and finishing up with a quick quiz on a quick derby quiz as well. Let's just jump straight into the Livi game. A very disappointing performance, Dave.
Pish.
Aye.
I like that though. Mincing about, just right in. Let's just get right in it. Rip the plaster off and just talk about what's wrong. But that wasn't good enough.
In terms of the formation, we started up with sort of like a 3-4-1-2. Doidge and Nisbet both starting. Papa, so what was your? I mean, like I say, we'll get into how it went, but in terms of when you seen that in the starting lineup, how did you feel about Doidge and Nisbet starting before the game, before it actually started?
It's good. We've always been wanting two up top rather than Nisbet on his own, and I think maybe Sean Maloney thought, well, we'll give him a chance, and because he's screaming out, he's needing a goal.
Aye.
But it didn't seem to work.
No.
To be honest, I didn't think, it took a wee while for the commentator to say Nisbet's name.
Aye.
He was never in the game. Doidge never done much either.
No Rocky, which was a surprise after sort of two good performances. It was McGinn, Rocky, and Louis as a back three. Cadden, Drake Dalhayes, Campbell, Mitchell, Henderson behind Doidge and Nisbet. In terms of the first half, immediate attempts to get the ball out to Mitchell on the left-hand side. He was running at the defences. He seemed keen to impress. 5 minutes in, Henderson picks up the ball. Cross from Cadden, goes to the back post. Doidge hits the post off the back of that. The corner off the back of that then is cleared. Cadden puts it in, and Mitchell puts it in at the back post. Dave, I mean, your thoughts on the goal and Mitchell's sort of performance in terms of running the defence?
Yeah, well, to be fair, he took it well, and he was obviously quite happy. It's the ideal situation for him to just go early doors at Easter Road, and I don't think anybody was that bothered about the whole Hearts thing, to be honest, but puts any doubters that shuts them up. And then, he was good. He probably, like, if you're talking, just want me to talk about his performance in general, he probably should have been subbed a lot earlier, because I think he just got burst and he stopped being as effective as the game went on. But he was probably one of the ones that were a bit more direct, which is what we needed. So,
Papa Stu, I mean, he's clearly lacking a bit of match fitness, but looks very direct, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got some pace in him, and his commitment, as Dave says, he just shut up all the doubters. I was really pleased, but he's probably 45 minutes would have done him, and I think the Hearts game will probably come too quick for the lad, because it's Tuesday. But I was really pleased, and then running away and to the support. I think he was wanting to show the support that he was, that he's here to play in the green rather than think about the Hearts. But no, good player and good pace.
Yeah, very impressive from what we saw, and hopefully once he's up to fit, we'll see even more of that. Straight after the goal, however, ball comes in. Macey kind of gets played over the top of the defence. Macey comes rushing out, gets a hand hit, and the referee points to spot. Thankfully, it was a strange one for the keeper to be doing that, but when you do see it in slow motion, he does get his hand hit, and thankfully the linesman overturned that decision. However, there wasn't a referee to come to Macey's aid about 10-11 minutes later. A free kick from the right-hand side from Livi floated into the 12-yard box. Macey comes for it and doesn't get the ball. Instead, gets McGinn, clears himself out, and it's a free header not a free header, but obviously Obley gets up and wins the header, and it's in an empty net. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm very concerned in sort of performance from Macey, and in particular here, Papa Stu.
I can't believe that he's about 6'7", so he must be jumping at about 8.5, 9 feet, and he still can't collect that ball. And he does it. I don't know how many goals that we've lost in cross balls. It's just, I just didn't understand why doesn't he come out and just command that 6-yard area. It's frightening.
It's bad decision making.
Honestly, Dave, I don't understand how he just can't come in, flatten everybody, and just collect that ball with one hand. He's a big guy. I know not against Hearts, but I think we should be playing at Dabrowski and giving him a wee chance, because he needs to get put on the bench. It's sad to say, but when you're a keeper, when the keeper's not got that confidence, you can't keep on playing him.
Dave, you were shaking your head as I kind of read through that there.
Yeah, to be fair, I think he's probably been told he needs to start coming for a lot more, rather than, because he doesn't command his box enough. So as that's been coming in, he's probably had in his back of teeth, but I better go for this. But for me, that, like, you see the way the guy, he does it, and that he's like, if Macey just stayed where he was, there was absolutely no danger there at all.
He would have caught it.
Yeah.
He would have caught it. It would have just bounced in front of him, and it wasn't even a good header, Dave.
No, there was no need for him to come at all, and he made a complete arse shit. And I didn't even feel bad when I said that he dropped, because, like, we're all fine, like, for praising him, his performance. Like, he's had a couple of good performances for him. So, like, he's like that one away at Tynecastle, mind, when it was him and Gordon were both class. Everybody was singing his praises then. So for me, I just think he needs time on the bench.
Aye, it's a concerning one in terms of his performances. I thought as well. I thought there was a few times where he seems to be coming, like you were saying, he seems to be coming things which he wasn't before. Like the penalty, even though he done well to get a hand to it, before he wouldn't have been coming for that. It was a strange one. So I don't know if that's been an instruction. He's struggling with it, but he's not performing in other ways as well. So it's concerning. And like I say, and then after that, Hibs got the ball out to the right hand side. Cadden put in. Well, I'll ask you guys: was that a cross or was that a shot? Papa Stu?
Oh, cross.
Aye.
Definite.
Aye. And like I say, keeper probably does worse than Macey did with his goal. I mean, a bit of luck there, Dave.
Yeah. There's he never met that at all. No chance. I don't even think he tried to climb it. It was just, everyone was surprised. You see, the other thing is, who was he crossing it to? There was nobody there.
Yeah, aye.
Okay.
Aimless cross,
So,
which thankfully went in.
Yeah, so definitely lucky, but yeah.
I mean, Papa Stu, how were you feeling at half time? 2-1 up.
Well, I felt okay, but it was still only. But they just weren't playing right. I keep on saying it. There's too many passes, and when you're playing in that condition, it's the same against Motherwell. You've got, yes, try and keep the ball on the ground. However, there's times to clear the ball when the winds, when you're getting, especially in the second half with Livingston, the winds coming your way. You've got to clear the ball. You just can't just play about until you get, they catch you on your 18-yard box. And that's what I'm saying. It's nice when your team plays football, but you can't keep on doing that. You just get picked off. Like, what's happening? I
mean, after I thought we were at half time, I felt bad. We were putting it in one of the group chats, and I was saying that I was feeling bad about that. We'd scored 2 goals, but I didn't feel we were creating anything. We'd had a couple of chances at the start, and then, like say, a cross that went in. I was a bit concerned going to second half. I felt bad saying that because we were winning, but I was a bit. But like I say, I guess I was kind of right to be concerned. Into the second half, Livi started the better team. Hibs were either, like perhaps we said, they're either passing about the defence in the midfield or they were defending. And it was in the 53rd minute. Cross comes in from the right hand side. Obley flicks it on, and Fitzwater heads it towards goal. I mean, Dave, it was too simple, and two, Macey's position as well was again being questioned.
Yeah, I don't know what he's just in no man's land. He's not came for it, but then he's not protecting the goal either. He's just completely out of position. I just think it was just a really poor goal to lose. But like you say, they started better the second half. Like, started with a bit more intent. They were more direct, and they were pressing us up high. And when you've not got like good players playing football at the back, then what's going to happen? You're going to create your own problems.
Aye. Perhaps even after that, a couple of minutes later, Livi had a corner and Hibs had to clear the ball off the line twice. They're attacking. Livy's attacking. Like I say, the players that were up were just bullying the Hibs defenders and winning all the balls in our own box.
And the thing is, who did it? Who saved us? Nisbet. It was his clearance twice off the line. You know what? It's sad to say, but that's what he done. You know, and you know that's like scoring a goal, saving two attempts right on the line. It was really good defending. However, he's a centre forward. Where's our other defence?
Yeah,
you know, there's something not right.
Aye.
And I think, you know what? I think the players, and I said it on the chat, I think the players they've been told that to play football what Maloney's wanting, and they're over trying. And I think if they hoof the ball up the park, they're getting fined.
Aye.
It's like they just seem to be doing too much. You know, we're not being direct, and it just shows you. Boyle carried us for a couple of seasons.
Aye,
Can't do that line. I've not got anybody to do that, Gav.
Aye, we'll come back. I was going to ask Boyle after the game in terms of missing the pace and stuff. So we'll chat about that in a sec. Like I say, I was doing my notes for the game. I was watching Hibs TV, and there was a clip where Nisbet comes deep, plays it first time with Cadden, and then the one where Doidge tries to keep it in and slips, and it goes out for a goal kick, and it comes off him. I mean, the fact that was in the highlights was quite telling of how our attacking play in the second half. There was we tried to sort of keep possession, and then Campbell goes. Sorry, I'll try again. Campbell gives away the ball really cheaply to Omionga. Livy get the ball and immediately go in the attack, and Forrest ends up in a one-on-one with Porteous and gets his shot away. 3-2 Hibs. Dave, your thoughts on the defending for this goal and giving the ball away?
I thought Porteous was quite poor in this goal. I felt he could have got out to Forrest a lot sooner. I know he did stand off him because he was in the box, but he just stood off and let him shape into turn and obviously put it in. But yeah, I thought he was quite culpable there. I know we're talking about Campbell getting the ball away in the middle of the park, but his pass that he was trying to play was forward. So we can't complain about him not making forward passes and then complain when he tries one and it doesn't come off. But yeah, it was perfect Campbell, but equally I thought Porteous was probably more to blame there as well.
Thing is, Dave, it was a bad ball.
Yeah.
You lost it, but they still had to get the full hour half into the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
They still had to get there.
Yeah.
And where was the tackles? There was not one tackle that got put in there, but we seemed to run alongside them and then they put the tackles in. And as you say, Porteous showed them inside. He showed them, and that's where he scored from. You know, he must know to put them out wide. Show him the line.
I had a question from a Livy mate asking, you know, like he says he seems like a good prospect, but what does that, like I've seen him a couple of times for Hibs against us and in the cup games and stuff. He's like, what does that Campbell actually bring to Hibs? And then he was very surprised when I said, well, you see about a prospect, he's coming up for 22. I mean,
right.
I know he's late to come into the Hibs team, Dave, but does he have another starting place from what you've seen?
No, and there's no point in asking me what I think he brings because I couldn't tell you either. Like to me, he's just like a placeholder. He gets the ball and he'll like pass it. Like I don't know. Apart from like I can see that he tries and he gives a lot of effort and that it's fine, but it's the quality we need. Like I mean, we want to be third in the table. Like want to be like actually doing something in Europe, winning cups and that. We're not going to do that if we think Josh Campbell's the answer. It's not going to happen. I think any of that midfield three is the answer, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the talking points I had for afterwards, but we'll talk about now since we've came on to it. I mean, I'm not saying Stefan Omiyonga is like is the answer to what we're looking for, but the fact that he embarrassed our midfield, completely outstrengthened them, was able to find space so many times, really concerning.
Yeah.
He was the man of the match yesterday for me.
Aye.
He strolled that game, Gav. He strolled it. You know what I mean? And I know that somebody in corporate has to give the Hibs man in the match, but I tell you what, it was embarrassing. Whoever got it. because Omiyonga's, I don't know how many times he had about 3 men around him and he just walks by them. See, this is the problem when I get back to us. We start passing and playing the wee balls and getting caught. What's wrong with taking a man on? And that's what Omiyonga does. He takes a wee man on. He took 3 players out one time. But we try and play that. We go back the way and start again. Why not get by the man and then pass it? But nobody seems to be wanting to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, there's a couple of bits I'll come back to, but Dave, I mean, we're going on the style of play now. I mean, it's been a few games under Maloney, and in terms of yesterday as well. What's your kind of thoughts on the style of play that we're trying to play under Maloney?
The style that he's trying to adopt is probably what he sees as an ideal style of football in his head, and that is play for the back and then build forward. But we've not got the players that are either confident enough to play the ball forward with any, I don't know, like, do you know what I mean? Any great effect. With 528 passes thereabouts to Livi's 267, with 67% of the ball to their 33%. Our pass accuracy was 86% to their 71%. But then when you look at the actual nitty-gritty of the facts, they had double the amount of shots in goal, double the amount of shots in target. Do you know what I mean? So what would you rather? And this is where we called Jack Ross football boring, because it was a lot of possession based, a lot of sideways passing, and that. This is, I don't know what this is worse. It's not getting any better. Like, and I know against Dundee United and Aberdeen it was good, but we're moaning about
Is it
Nisbet.
concerning? Like I said to you yesterday, is it concerning that, you know, I had a good couple of games under Maloney, then there's been the break, he's had 3 weeks with the players, and we've got 1 point out of 9, and we're not creating any chances?
Yeah, well, we went 2 games without a shot on target, and then yesterday we never created much either. Like, Nisbet had a couple of chances in the second half. The one where I thought he'd actually done really well, like went through the middle, the 3 or 4 folk, showed decent strength. He just finished was poor. But for me, he has to drop far too deep to get the ball, because that midfield creates nothing. So he's getting frustrated up top, and I can understand why he's getting frustrated, because folk are like, oh, he doesn't do anything, or his body language and that's wrong. So he needs to try and drop deep to try and show that he cares. But then when he does drop deep with nobody up top to hit.
Aye, perhaps do Dave.
See Nisbet, Gav. Nisbet's having to do something like a Lukaku role in Belgium, come deep, because that's what he does, comes deep. But he's got that many good players around him. He can, come deep, lay off, and when he burrows round, he's got about 4 or 5, heading for that 18-yard box. So when he does get there, the ball's there, and they're all, he's got players. That's Nisbet's doing the hard work, coming short to then get up top, but it goes back the way. Newell and all that pass the ball back. So the hard work that he's done, it's a waste.
It's one of those ones where I don't think he can win, because either, we're not creating anything, so he comes deep to try and help create stuff. There's a few times where he got the ball and immediately first touch pass out wide to Cadden or to somebody, and then he's moving forward and stuff. And then you hear people moaning around, oh, fucking hell, he should be deeper, he should be in the box, he should be in the box. And then when we're not creating and he's isolated, he's still getting stick for. I mean, don't get me wrong, in terms of his chances, like, he is playing without confidence. He's not taking those chances. Dave, you mentioned that one there where he picked up the ball about halfway through his own half, done great to get into the box, and the shot wasn't great. There was another one where the free kick came in, it got cleared to him, and he was on the volley in a bit of space. Should probably at least be getting it on target. Another one where the keeper saved at the front post. So he did have a couple of chances, not great chances, but he does look he's lacking a bit of confidence. But at the same time, like Dave said, Pap Stewart, he's not getting any service, is he?
No, he's and I do feel sorry for the laddie, because we all like him and we know what he can do, but it doesn't help when you've got, well, Liam was saying in the chat, saying that he was at a game and he was saying that the abuse that he was getting in the West Stand. Now that okay, you pay your money, you can tell, you can say what you want. However, get off everybody's back and let's try and support them. But it just isn't. Some guys just go for their throat. And no wonder. I think if he gets a chance, he'll be off because he'll be getting fed up. I think he needs a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. It's a frustrating one because, like I say, we know how good our players there. We've seen that, but we're not seeing it this season. So yeah, it's a bit concerning. I mean, like I say, we kind of already touched on the style of play. So it's a bit. Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember Louis van Gaal when he was at Man United, and they would just pass it between the defence, and Man United fans would get bored and get annoyed and get frustrated. They started chanting attack, attack, attack. The fact that we were 3-2 down yesterday, and the goalkeeper's passing it out to Porteous inside his own box, who's then passing it to Rocky, who's then passing, and it's like we're 3-2 down. What? We get the ball forward. I think there's going to be if we try and persist with that, there's going to be a lot of frustration from Hibs fans and from the fans.
I don't know why that time you were talking about. I don't know why, because the wind was against us. Why just get Macey? He's a big laddie. Kick the ball at the park, miss out the midfield, and because we had, I think, 4 centre forwards, 4 forwards on at that time. Get them up there and try and get the second ball. You've got to change. And I didn't understand why Maloney, is it because he's just in his infancy and management? As I say, there's a time that you've got to change. You've got to say, right, we can't pass the now. Get everybody up there and miss out the midfield and try and get the second ball when it's coming down. That's it. You've got to. We needed a goal just to get a point. We need, and how many times have we seen at Easter Road the last 5-10 minutes when we've clawed it back, and then we're fighting, like everybody's sucking the ball into the goals in the last 5 minutes because we're on top of the team. But we're passing away. We're still passing the ball in the 18-yard box.
Aye.
So
in terms of when we were trying to attack, Dave, I mean, it did seem that we were passing the ball out to Cadden or out to Mitchell or Doig when he came on. That seemed to be the game plan. Go out wide. Is that a game plan in general with passing it out wide and then aimless crosses that go nowhere, or is it because Maloney and his coaching team don't really have the confidence in that midfield three?
It's been, to be fair, I think that's been a game plan for Hibs for a while. Especially, I know we had Boyle there, but I always felt when Boyle was playing it wide, that's all we did was get the ball out to him. And fair enough, he was the most creative player, but and it feels like we've not got away from that, but we've not got that outlet there anymore. That player's not there. But you're right, what's the point of playing through the middle? But teams know that we won't play through the middle now, so because there's nobody there, there's no creative that playing in that number 10 role and behind the strikers. We've not got a player that's good enough to do it. Well, Kyle McGuinness, but he's injured, so we've just got an absolute clump of midfielders that are all not good enough to play for Hibs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to come to the realisation that maybe Scott Allen isn't as good as I think he is because he's not getting in the team, and it's clearly what we need. And I think there's been talk of him going, but the fact that Maloney was saying that he might want to keep him, like, well, when you're 10 minutes to go, 0-0 with Motherwell, and they go down to 10 men, and you don't bring on Scott Allen. I'm like, well, you obviously don't want him because that's a perfect opportunity for somebody like him find a bit of space. And well, obviously the guys in the Hibs Talk Extra talked about the Motherwell game, but I mean that was a strange one as well, Dave.
It's no, I don't think Maloney actually thinks that, and I don't think Maloney thinks half the stuff he says. And I think what he's doing is he's just. He's not used to dealing with the media, so even after games and that coming out and saying, "Oh, we played well," or "I'm proud of what I've seen in that," and we were pish, or coming out and be like, "Oh, Livi never created that much chances," and I'm like, "What? They double the amount of attempts as us and double the amount of shots and target? What are you talking about?" I think he's just saying what he thinks folk want to hear, and well, I didn't want to hear that because I'm not stupid. Fans are not stupid. We're all seeing what's there in front of us, so don't sugarcoat it. Just come out and say that wasn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise it just becomes concerning that alarm bells are ringing that what is he watching and what is he seeing that every single other person's not seeing.
Perhaps Dave mentioned there about before about Martin Boyle not being in the team anymore, and Maloney touched on that after the game, really feeling that they need to try and get somebody in with a bit more pace. Obviously when Mitchell went off, we didn't really have an outlet in terms of pace. It's something we desperately need before the deadline on Monday, isn't it?
We definitely need somebody that's going to. But saying that, if we try and get someone, how much are they going to cost, and how much are Hibs willing to pay? That's the thing. A good player, like we got Boyle on the cheap, and it took us about 3 years before he came good. So
we're not needing somebody like that now, eh? We're needing somebody that's going to come in and have an impact.
That's right.
And that
but
costs
they
money.
Come at a cost. Aye, they come at a cost, and we've got and another problem that we've got, the teams that we're trying to buy them from know that we've got money, and we've got 3 million, so they'll put their price up. So we're now looking to get someone who is their contract's ending at the end of the season, so we can get them on the cheap. But they're far and few between. So this is a problem I've got, and it's always been the same. We've always knew that when Boyle went, we'd have a problem, and it just shows you. I keep on going back to the Celtic game, and I know it's Celtic; they're a better side, but Joe Hart came off, and he hadn't even had a save to make. He was. I said to you, Gav, in the last pod, I bet he didn't even have to have a shower, because he came off there. He never done anything. Then Celtic play Hearts, and he was diving here, there, and everywhere. He had a job. We've got nobody that is. We're busy passing away when other teams are actually scoring goals and making attempts, because we're not making any attempts. So that's why Nisbet's not doing much, because we're not having any shots on goal. And it just showed yesterday. What was it, Dave? What did we have? Again, that they had double than what we had. But
it was 11 attempts, 5 on target.
5 on target in an hour and a half.
Well, to be fair, that's more than like probably the last 3 or 4 games combined or something.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Aye. I know.
I was thinking that at half time was like we've had 2 shots on target in what was it, 180 minutes plus the 45. So yeah, 235 minutes, 2 shots on target. Insane.
Yeah.
Really concerning. And I mean, in terms of the transfer window Monday, yeah, we definitely need a Boyle replacement. That is got to be top of the agenda. But I mean, like Dave said about Kyle McGuinness, yeah, he's probably one of the ones that can do that in terms of an attacking midfielder, but he's no fit, and we can't rely on him to be fit. So we need somebody else that's going to be there to compete with him for that position, and is going to play when Kyle McGuinness is no fit. And we probably need another striker as well, because they need a bit of competition up top. And both Doidge and Nisbet are lacking service, but also lacking confidence and goals at the moment. Dave, what are you wanting to see in by Monday, and what you want to see, and what you really realistically expecting?
I honestly almost feel like I want to see about 5 or 6 out as well as maybe 2 in, because I think we could, if we're worried about costs and that, which somebody would need to sit down and explain to me why we would be when we just got 3 million in the door. But I would get Reagan, Charles Cook. Everybody's saying that, like it's no rocket science.
Out of contract in the summer, so you could quite ideally agree a deal with him and then go to Ross County. Right, we want him now.
Just give them, and if they're like, right, well, I want 400 grand, right, fine, give it, and then you've got a ready-made player. We just paid 400 grand for this Norwegian Melkerson, is not going to kick a ball for I don't know how long. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we need a fix now. Like, we've got the derby on Tuesday. How costly would it be us missing the top 6 this season? Because we're not trying to be funny. We're not guaranteed that at all. So I would take that into consideration, and we probably need a striker as well. Them two definitely. Probably need another, I'd say, midfielder, centre midfielder that can actually do something a bit proactive in the ball. And then I'd get rid of, you can't get rid of people that are on contracts, but I'd be telling people you're not in the plans for a club.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie Murphy yesterday, I came on, didn't do much, lost the ball. Apparently rumoured to be a high earner. He's one that's kind of struggling to justify that value, Papa Stu.
Yeah, and he was. Well, I don't know if it was just no playing because we've got a game on Tuesday. We'll find out. We'll find out on Tuesday who's in the sort of top 11. But with Murphy, he just seems to run into trouble. I don't know what it is. I always remember we were in the corner flag of the final against Celtic, and he was coming down the left, and he would cut in. He always seems to cut in right, rather than and there was a big gap right down, to the byline. Whereas if he just came the outside of the right back and cut in, but he doesn't seem to do that. He always wants to run, and it must be so easy mark him that he's always cutting inside.
Yeah, just show him up to the outside. He doesn't like that, and it's easy to defend against. Aye, so.
I know. Well, why do you not just play him on the right rather than on the left?
That seems too sensible, Papa. So that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be interesting to see who goes out and who comes in by Monday. But yeah, it's an interesting one, the transfer window. I think there's a few bodies that need to go. Obviously, Hallberg went. It's one we've actually not touched on. Never really worked out for him at Hibs. See how he does at St Johnstone. But yeah, there's a few others that have been talked about in the past about potentially going. I think that if a few go out and 2 or 3 in, I think it seems strange considering we were getting our business done so early that we're still talking about so much business being done at the end of the window. But it's going to be a hard end of the season if there's not much more activity. But yeah,
thing is,
yeah,
Gav, you were talking about Alan and what Maloney said in the papers that he's in his plans. And he doesn't play twice, right? Motherwell and then yesterday. We've got 5 subs. And Josh Campbell, what Dave said about Josh Campbell, right? He's not that young. But why, when you're playing all that tip-tappy football and trying to play in between or through the channels, that's the player that you want on the park, is Scott Allen.
Yeah.
But he can't even get the last half hour. You're telling me that Scott Allen can't last half an hour. And that's what I don't know why he says he's wanting them, but when he put him on. Now that lad would just, the type of football that Maloney's playing, it would suit him down to the ground. So I don't understand that. If he doesn't want him, get rid of him. If that's, I hate when people try and keep somebody there. As Dave said, just get rid. Yeah. It's a shame for the lad because he'll be getting infuriated at that.
You mentioned Tuesday there, so let's get on with the preview in the Hearts game. In terms of Hearts, I mean, looking at the sort of results here, the last time we beat Hearts was obviously the Martin Boyle game at Tynecastle on the day here. That was December 2019. The last time we beat them at Easter Road was the 9th of March 2018, unless I'm mistaken. I'm quite looking at that there. We've not beat them at Easter Road in almost 4 years.
Was that where Jason Cummins go?
Well, I'd have to check 2 seconds. I'll check that just now. Whilst we're talking about that, let's quickly check that. I mean, Hearts are third in the table, 12 wins this season, 9 clean sheets, only lost the 5 games. And in terms of the Dave Hearts have unfortunately been impressive this season in the first season back and look odds-on favourite for 3rd place.
Yeah, any problems they had last season, to be fair, was all in style of play because they weren't absolutely brain teams which fans wanted to see, but they just needed to get out, and then that's what they were trying to say to them. But I think they have recruited quite well, as much as I didn't like to say it. Even recently, that boy they've got for Everton, that Sims, he looks a decent player. I watched them during the week against Hearts, and he's some size of a boy as well. But yeah, I'm concerned. They've got a dead piece specialist in Kingsley as well, which is concerning. The midfield's got
and no concerning.
Nah, midfield's got a bit of bite about it. Craig Gordon's a fucking pain in the arse in goals.
Oh,
nah. I'm worried.
The last few games have only sort of lost to the Old Firm. They beat Motherwell yesterday, lost to Celtic. They beat Auchinleck Talbot. They beat 5-0. They beat St Johnstone 2-0. They beat Ross County 2-1. They beat Dundee 1-0. Lost to Rangers. Beat Livingston. Lost to Celtic. Beat St Mirren. So then you're going back to the 20th of November before their last defeat outside of the old against the Old Firm. I'm not making us feeling any better, Papa Stioma.
No, you've just ruined my Sunday. Oh, Gav, you know what? There's been times, and remember when my laddies were young, taking them to the football, and I'd go there and I'd say, I feel good about this game, playing against Hearts. But this game on Tuesday, I didn't feel good. And you know what? I'll be happy if we turn up and we play against Hearts and we do well. But it'll annoy me because you can't play against Motherwell, Livi, and Brody Rangers. But you pick yourself up for the Old Firm games, and we never really did against Celtic. But we play well against the Jambos, and that would infuriate me because you've got to play well all the games.
So what you're saying is if Hibs play well, you're frustrated, and if Hibs don't play well, you're frustrated. On Tuesday.
But what I'm saying is I want us to play well.
Yeah.
But it will infuriate me that you can do it against Hearts when there's a big crowd and whatever. But that doesn't matter.
Completely understandable, yeah.
We've got to win all the wee games.
Yeah.
And it's terrible saying that against the wee teams because we class ourselves as probably the fourth largest team. You're going to say the Hearts, they've got a bigger following, and they always have. But it's like it annoys you when you can turn up, the players can turn up to a big match and they didn't play well against other teams. And like Dave, I'm really worried if we play like how we did yesterday, we'll get taken. They'll be 4 off us easy.
It was the natural order game was the last time we beat Hearts at Easter Road. Scott Allen and McLaren with the goals. That
was it.
Aye, that's how. So that's worked out well. Yeah. Aye. So I mean, in terms of Hibs, Dave, let's have a chat about Hibs. Obviously, we've done that quite a bit there. But in terms of Tuesday, it will depend on potential new arrivals and who departs. But how far away do you think Maloney is from putting out his strongest 11? And does he know his strongest 11 yet?
He doesn't have a clue. He's made that many different changes and different systems, and he is probably still experimenting. So he doesn't know his strongest 11. Nowhere near it. I think if we get someone in the door Monday, then they need to go right in because I'm seeing no reason why they shouldn't. If we are signing somebody, my expectation that it would be for the first team straight away. None of this or for a project or we don't need a project. We need fixes. We've just sold somebody, our best player, for $3 million, and I will be exceptionally disappointed / angry if we don't invest some of that back in. I'll feel cheated.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a number 10 jersey to fill.
Yeah.
Who's going to take the number 10? That's a big act to follow. Boyle was the type of lad who wanted the number 10. He said, I wanted that. And it was, we all looked at him, number 10. But so whoever comes in, that's the number that they'll get. So you've got to spend money on a 10. And I'm really shouldn't have started speaking about the Hearts, honestly. I'm really bothered for, you're saying get somebody in, Dave. That's Simone.
Tomorrow. Well, we're saying Monday. I'm forgetting Monday's tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow. And another thing, Mitchell just showed put right in the team and scored. Okay, wasn't he 100% fit? But so it can work. Get the guy in.
And while we're saying Monday's tomorrow, when did Boyle leave? And when did we know he was going to leave? They've had long enough. That's what the team's there for, recruitment team, and that I'll not take any excuses if we don't fill that, none at all. And I'll be extremely annoyed if it's like for the sake of like $100,000 or something, or like because we didn't want to pay that for Charles Cook or whatever. It would annoy me like a great deal.
Dave, as you said, they should just go down and get Charles Cook, say to Ross County, we're wanting, that's him. You get him for $200,000 easy. $200,000, what's that? Get him. And have him ready for, he's match fit.
Yeah.
So he's actually more match fit than Mitchell. Put him in against Hearts.
It's
That's it.
it's one of those ones where if the number 10 jersey is still sitting vacant come Tuesday morning, Wednesday, it's like it's tough not to, as a Hibs fan in your head, kind of go, well, I was just waiting for the summer to kind of build the team and kind of writes off this season. I know I know it seems like a little thing, but we need to make a marquee signing to replace. Probably not probably our best player has left, and we need to replace him. If we don't replace him until the summer, it's going to be a long time until the end of the season. It's going to be a long season left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's say score predictions finally for the Hearts game, and then we'll finish up with a quick quiz.
2-0 Hibs because I'm fucking deluded.
Bavas do.
I think we'll play good. And it's funny, I was just saying it earlier. I think we'll play well against them because we always raise our game, and the fans, it's a sellout. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I think we'll get a draw there.
Aye.
Because Hearts will score. It doesn't matter. Hearts will score.
You're saying about the sellout there. That makes me more anxious because the crowd were bad. Understandably so. The crowd were frustrated. Bad's the wrong word. I apologise. The crowd were frustrated and loud yesterday. How are the crowd going to be if we're getting beat for Hearts? I mean, I think if you've got the Hearts fans singing, Hibs fans tend to go quieter more than getting annoyed at the crowd. But still, I don't think that's a benefit in terms of, from what I saw yesterday from the fans, in terms of frustration.
You know what, Gav, it's a sellout, but because of the game yesterday, there's a possible chance that there's a lot of season books that will not even.
I was walking back to the car yesterday and I heard a guy say, and I know it's only just after the game, but I heard him say, "Fuck, no chance I'm coming Tuesday. Nah, I'm not going." And she was like, and his wife was like, "What?" He's like, "Nah, I'm not going. No worth it. Mum and Dad have got tickets. They're talking about not going." Which I've tried to say them just to go, but I think there will be some fans that will commit to that and not go in. I think there will be empty seats, even though it is a sellout.
That's heat of the moment. That's heat of the moment stuff, though. Like,
hopefully,
a bit of times I've walked out Easter Road and went, "I'm never going fucking back," and then
yeah. But yeah, let's say to finish up, we're going to do a quiz. This quiz was done by Liam, who obviously does Hibstock Extra Time. If you haven't already, check out Thursday's episode. They had a special guest, another Liam, the singer from Retro Video Club, who done the Glory Glory to the High Bees song, which was featured on A View from Terrace, and obviously redone recently and stuff. So yeah, it was a really good chat. Liam was great on it. So check that out if you haven't. Obviously, they were discussing the Motherwell game and how we're playing. So, but yeah, they've got the quiz here from Liam. So what we'll do is it's a multiple choice. So I'll run through the questions. If you know the answer, say your name. Wait for me to come to you, because so it doesn't get shouting over people. So say your name. That's your kind of buzzer. I'll come to you and then we'll just sort of fire through it. And it's just for fun. There's no prize. It's just a bit of fun.
I'm great for that. Yeah.
So yeah, all Derby themed. So question number 1: who scored the more Derby goals? Derek Riordan, Gary O'Connor, Jason Cummins, Mixu Patalainen.
Stuart.
Who are you going for, Stuart?
I'll go for Mixu.
Incorrect. Dave, Riordan, O'Connor or Cummins? Riordan. 1-0 to Dave. That's the correct answer, yes. In February 2016, Hibs drew 2-2 with Hearts at Tynecastle. But who played in goals for Hearts that day? Was it Jack Hamilton, John McLaughlin, Neil Alexander, or Scott Gallagher? Easy for me to say.
When was it again, Gav?
February 2016.
Dave. Neil Alexander.
It was Neil Alexander. 2-0 Dave. Pulling away. Question
you got answers there, Dave.
Question number 3. In the replay of that game, Jason Cummins saw red, but who was the Hearts player who saw red 2 minutes before? Was it Jim, Duda, Joma, or Augustin? I don't know if you're pronouncing that right. Augustin? It might be.
Stuart.
Who are you going for?
Jim.
It wasn't Jim, Dave.
Say the names again.
So Jim, Duda, Joma, or Augustin?
I remember that Anki he slammed the ball off the ground because a free kick or something had been given away. But it was quite harsh. It wasn't a red, so get it up him. But I'll say the first one. I can't remember the names.
So the first one was Jim, but in
set engine.
Do that. Is it incorrect? It was Augustin, the one I can't pronounce.
Augustin.
Yeah. So still 2-0, Dave. Ryan Porteous had played in 3 Edinburgh derbies, but how many times has he started on the bench against them? 5, 6, 4, or 3?
Dave.
Dave?
4.
Not Dave. It's not 4. Stuart?
3.
6 times on the bench against Hearts. Still 2-0, Dave. Last question. So it's congratulations on winning, Dave. During his time in the championship, Oztuck scored a screamer at Easter Road to grab a late goal. Omalonga scored for Hibs, but what was his squad number at the time? 7, 14, 24, or 25?
Who's?
Malonga's. Malonga's squad number when he scored against Hearts. 7, 14, 24, 25.
7.
Nope. Dave?
Dave is going to say 24.
It was 24. 3-0, Dave.
Oh,
Horgan would have been 7. Malin 14.
Aye.
25. I don't know. It would have been 25.
Don't know. But yeah, so the tiebreaker, we'll do it anyway, just for a bit of fun. How many players have played for both Hibs and Hearts? Closest to it wins. So just a guess of how many people have played for both Hibs and Hearts. Obviously, you can think of a few, Darren Jackson, Michael Jackson, but how many in total over the history of the two clubs? How many people have played for 2? So both your guesses and closest wins a point.
I'll go first since
Okay.
I'm going to say 9.
9. Papastu?
no, this is worth 4 points. This. Oh no, it's more than 9.
That is more than
I'll
9.
go 10. I'll go 10. But I would imagine if you're going back in the history, there's probably
a lot.
I would say maybe 15 or 20.
40 was the answer, but you were closest with the 10.
40, well, man.
Yeah.
I was close. I thought that. So that's 4-3 winning. Yes.
So yeah, thank you, Liam, for the quiz. Like I say, check out the extra time episode if you haven't done already. The guys from Extra Time will be back to look back at the Hearts game and obviously discuss the closing of the transfer window later in the week. And like I say, we'll be back next Monday to chat about the following games, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cool.
No problem.
Not a problem. Catching a bit.
Follow us at HFC Talk, and thanks again. Cheers, guys.